estate investor. You're not a real estate investor looking for this in this area for this much, this criteria. You want to make sure you hone in on all that. So this is again using money. So whether that's mailers, radio ads, newspaper, social media, Google AdWords. You want to make sure your message is tailored to the audience and you're trying to provide a solution to their problem. And the one thing you want to do to make sure is that you do it some way where it's trackable, right? So whether that's using 2 or 3 different Google phone numbers to different mailers that you'd send out, so then you can track where it's coming from, different color envelopes, different pictures, different wording on it. You want to send out the same message that you have, but you want to see what wording or what marketing brings you back the biggest return, so you can focus on that. And I know a lot of investors, so the owners of GRID, Rob and Mike were talking about how they send out different color postcards to see which one attracts people more, and they use different Google phone numbers to see what market call or what wording gets people to call them more. This is again all about getting your phone to ring. We always say do this last because you have to figure out the first 2 steps first. So N is for nurture and grow your database. Very important you have a database, whether that's just an Excel spreadsheet, an actual CRM. You want to make sure you have somewhere to put these people into so that you can keep track of them, and then you can create content that's valuable and send it to them, and then you have to keep sending. I think as realtors know, we have people that we talk to, like, oh, I'm going to buy in 6 months or in a year. You want to keep up with them, so we send them information every month. I'm not trying to say, hey, you're ready to buy it. It's valuable information every month, like, oh, this is what the market did this month. Oh, this is a new program out. Oh, this is that. This is that. So when you have a database of people who are looking to sell or have properties they don't know what to do yet, you need to send out valuable information, right? And the other thing, going back to the money part, you don't want to send a lot of people do this too. They'll send out, let's make up a number, 100,000 postcards once to say, oh, it didn't work, right? You want to make sure you send out 10,000 postcards every month for the next 10 months, because you don't know when that person that you're sending it to, that decision is going to be made, right? So they may not have that decision in January, but in October, it may be their time to sell it. You want to make sure that your information is in front of them at that time. So you want to make sure you're not sending. It's not a one-time thing. You got to be consistent with it. And then how you get the information. Hold on, I'm confusing myself. So yeah, you want to make sure you do it consistently. Back to this. Have a database, create digital content, create value, create solutions to their problems that you can send to them, and just keep up with them. And then eventually those will convert to leads when their time is right and they have your postcard sitting on their dining room table at the right moment. And then E is for empower and impact your community. This is again the whole part of giving back. You want to give value, you want to educate. I feel like, in my opinion, people seem to appreciate when you're trying to help them and educate them, kind of like we're doing, more than shoving it down their throats, in my opinion. Absolutely agree. So, attend, host events. Just because you're going to this one doesn't mean you can't host your own, RIA event. You want to be able to engage local businesses, engage the local people, the people you're trying to target, and you want to show them value and bring them solutions to their problems. Is there any questions? I'm going kind of fast.
I have a question. I think we're friends on Facebook, so it's nice to see you in person. Nice to meet you. I saw a post from you guys that you guys just post in Woodbridge or something.
Yeah, a week ago.
A week ago? How can you tell me about that? Because it's hard to find a deal in this area.
Yeah, so that was one we found on Facebook.
Oh, that's the one.
That's what we found on Facebook.
Oh wow, it's in Woodbridge.
In the State Streets.
Oh wow, and the numbers work.
Yeah.
Okay, so
story behind that too. We can go into that later. Yeah, we can go into that afterwards, but there's a story behind that too.
And the other 2 we found simply by word. We flipped 2 last year. Found that by word of mouth, telling people that we're agents and investors, and had people in our current sphere of influence that reached out. They had parents who passed away, and didn't know what to do with the houses. So they had us over. We gave them a couple of options, and ultimately worked out a deal to where we funded the flip, and were able to pay them out and get it all done. So it was just having that word of mouth, again, putting ourselves out there, doing the marketing, and providing different solutions.
And that's one thing I'll say is we've never spent a penny on marketing ourselves, like other than social media. We don't pay for ads or anything. I post probably a video every day just about real estate, not and investing. And the one thing that I've done is I'm very open about it. I run numbers. If you've seen some of my videos, they're real numbers. I'm not gloating, but I want people to see like a real life situation. Most people don't like a made up. Take this house for instance. Here are these numbers. Do this right. Here's a real house that we purchased. Here's the purchase price. Here's our expenses. Here's the rent, and here's how much we make every month on this property. This is a real property, and if we can do it, you can do it, right? So I'm gonna make a video about the flip that we just acquired. Just real numbers, everything's real. So I think the more that we educate people, and the more we put out there, more people will call us and say, "Hey, I have this house," or "I want to learn how to do this," or yeah.
A handful of you are already very active on social media, so just adding more to the message, and then people will continue to think about you, which is a slightly different. Yeah.
Any questions?
Add to that, even if not social media, networking is huge. Like there's nothing more important than that. The biggest deal I've ever gotten was literally from one of these groups. Money. It's a good story. But it was literally. I met her. It was like 3 months before COVID started. We were just talking just like this after one of the meetings. I told her I was doing apartments. I'd never seen a before. She was an agent. She called me maybe 4 months later and told me that you guys know the Sheridan in Tyson's Corner, the big one. She called me and said, "Ben, that Sheridan's vacant. Got shut down for COVID." I was like, I don't know anything about hotels. It's way out of my wheelhouse. Okay, thanks for the heads up. Hung up. Maybe a week later, she was on LinkedIn. I saw some guy. His name's Richard Rubin. He runs Republic. They convert hotels into workforce housing, affordable housing. And she's like, "Why don't we call him and see if he wants to share it?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. We'll try that." We ended up calling him. He's like, "Yeah, I'd definitely be interested. See what you can do." Her and I. That was maybe 3 or 4 days later. We met over in Sterling at a sandwich shop. It wasn't Panera. It was like Panera's. We got on the phone, doing everything we can to find out who owns the Sheridan and how are we going to track down the decision maker, Zach, and we don't know what we're doing. Left a ton of messages, got shut down a lot of dead ends, a lot of voicemails. Her and I were out of her car getting ready to leave. It was after 5 o'clock and nobody's in the office anymore. I get a call on my cell phone. This woman calls me frantically. She's like, so-and-so, you called me and said the Sheridan's on fire? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm really worried. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, I got your voicemail and I talk fast. She's like, you were talking real fast, it was hard to hear. It sounded like you said the Sheridan's on fire. I was like, no. I said, we have a buyer. We have somebody that may want your property. And it turns out she is the asset manager, decision maker. Put the whole deal together. We're under a contract now. It's going to be about two and a half years. We've not start to finish, but it's closing in September for $36 million. The girl who found it and I both get a point on that deal, $360K for phone calls. So networking, very good thing. The other lesson there: don't be afraid to go after the bigger deals. Make the phone calls. Again, when she first told me about that, I'm like, that's big time institutional money. I don't know anything about hotels or any of this stuff. But again, just randomly, hey, let's try, let's see. We might in total have 5 or 10 hours of that whole thing for that monster thing, and it obviously looks good on the resume. But yeah, those two things, again, I always joke, most of us don't, even though we love you guys, you don't feel like coming out to networking meetings, but I've never had anybody show up to my door while I'm watching Netflix or something, not, hey, I'm going to sell my house, or hey, I'm going to sell my apartment building, or hey, Ben, I've got $100,000, I want to get into an apartment. So those times when there's traffic, it's nice outside, I wouldn't skip a kid's game or something, but if you can be to these things, come out here, because you never know. You may come to 10 meetings, not meet or talk to anybody. At the 11th meeting, a deal drops in your lap. You get it off with somebody who wants to partner with you, wants to invest with you, has somebody who passes away, and Ray and I hit it off, and we put a deal together. So can't emphasize that enough. Even when you don't feel like coming out, get your butts out here and come to these meetings, because again, you never know who you're going to meet. You can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah. So on that networking portion, we have 13 properties in Roanoke, and we market down there again. And about 3 months ago, the state of Virginia called us to work with them on this program that they want to expand to the whole state. That we would be the only ones able to do it in the whole state. That wouldn't have happened if we didn't market, put ourselves out there, and yeah, that's
Just don't be afraid to do that.
yeah, it's kind of scary. We've been talking to grant writers and like trying to get millions of dollars in grants from the federal government, and it's been kind of an interesting ride. We're not finished with it yet. We're still in the process, but yeah, we market ourselves a lot, and like you said, just pick up the phone whenever you can. So by following the 7 roadmap, you create a highly targeted sales and marketing machine that brings you leads and deals predictably month in and month out. This basically, the way it's predictable is when you call, when you send out mailers, when you drive for dollars, when you write offers and you track it, you can predict, okay, every 70 offers I write, I'm gonna get 1 accepted. Every 100 phone calls I call, I'm gonna get 5 people that pick up and 2 people that make appointments. So you wanna do it enough to where you have enough data to where you can semi-accurately predict how many of these you have to do before you get 1 or 2 deals. Anyone? What do y'all like?
And add one thing on the piggyback on that. Don't get discouraged. Like if you're just starting out, flipping houses or apartments or anything, you may send out 100 deals, and if you're just doing this by yourself, I just started. Yeah, like, screw this. They're full. This doesn't work. But talk to somebody who does a lot of marketing. No matter what it is. Hey, I send out 100. We look at my postcard, or we look at my, look at my social media post. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Again, it's a great way to come back that networking thing. Not to get discouraged and keep going. You may send out 100 postcards, not a single response. The 100 first postcards, the home run deal, and all of a sudden, everything opens up for you. So, talk to people, get out there, just keep doing it.
So that's kind of the end of this portion of it. Do you guys have any questions? I know it's very vague.
You guys are inspiring. Everyone in the room is really one. So every time I come in, I hear new people come and share what they're doing. It's great. I feel like I know I'm supposed to ask this, but I don't know what I'm supposed to ask. You understand?
Do you have my number? Do you have Valley's
Yeah, I know. But the last thing I want to do is hey, Patrick, check this out. Listen, I got this idea that I can't describe, but I know it'll be great.
So James walked in, but he calls me every day. And we bounce ideas and we talk about different stuff. And I have another guy that I talk to every day that we're like, all right, what can we do to buy more houses? How can we buy this house? How can we buy that house? What can we do? So there's still a lot of things that, we've been very naive in the process over the past 5 years that we've done this. We went from 0 to 13. We're closing one on Monday. It's going to be 14. Our goal this year is to buy 1 a month. So far, we've hit that goal so far. Thanks. Trying to get to 20 by the end of the year. So.
I have a question. As an agent, when you go to a property that you're going to put an offer on, are you going there as a listing agent or as an investor?
So we provide different options, right? And you tell us your story. You.
Me?
Yeah. You just had one when we talked about it. And
Yeah. So I'm a listing agent. It started because we're a full service agent. We get from being lived in or probate all the way through like the hotel we put up. And we got a call for a probate and went, gave all the numbers and talked them through the process of how it works, what it would be, and someone came in and offered $140,000 less than what the property would have worth. Well, she took it. And I said, that's so stupid because you don't have to pay until settlement. So we loan the money. So there's a whole process. It wasn't costing, she didn't want to emotionally deal with it. And they stepped in and got it. And so I was like, that's never happening again because we know everybody that have to know. So this last one, we just came through. The guy has 8 rental properties and someone decided to flood the basement. And he's 85 years old. And he's just like, I'm done with this one. Most of his property now is in Burke. And West Springfield, and this one was in Lakebridge because I'm just done with it. And so I talked to Patrick, and I was like, Patrick,
What do I do?
I said I don't want to offer on this, and just give him the options because he's like, well, someone else called and asked if they could buy my property, and I said, that's never happened to me. So as a listing agent, I go and I say, if we fix your property and put it out like we normally do, it's worth this. If you sell as is, it's worth this. If you just want to get rid of it because you don't want to emotionally anything with it, we'll buy it at this. And I said that to him, and then I put the offer out, and then I called Patrick and I said, I need to be able to fund this, and I need to know tomorrow. And he's like, don't worry about that piece. So we swung, and then he turned out, he says, I appreciate all the options, we're gonna go with making it look like the hotel. So that comes out this weekend. So we'll win. Mark's doing our renovations, and then we'll get our normal commissions, and it'll be out. So it's a win either way. It's a win, but it actually lets us go in even more. Other agents, they're saying, "Let me list your house." And a lot of agents will actually just say, "Let me list your house," and you find the mark, and you find the staging company, and when you're done and you're ready, I'll put it on the MLS for you, and I'll do this bang and sell it.
Right.
And there's no value there. So we go, we have the mark, we have the staging, we do everything to make it look awesome, and we'll put it out. Or if you want to just dump it, we can bring it to the group and say, this isn't what we want. Does anybody want it? But we'll present it as, we'll offer, like we'll hold your hand through the process as they buy it from you. Or you put it out on the market, and rarely will they put it just out. But we do we do aggressively price for buying it straight up.
It's good for us. So basically what I'm gonna say, so we offer them, if we pay cash, we'll pay you this much. If you list it, it'll be this much. If you want to fix it up, you can do this much. Or if you want us to fix it, it'll be this much. So we do have different. I mean, the goal for us for that situation is if the properties, so the one that we did last year, no mortgage, or there was a reverse mortgage on it. It was total due was whatever, $250,000, and the seller was like,
Actually,
yeah, Bill's house. Yeah. The seller was like, I just want 50 grand. Like that's all I want. So I'm like, well, it's not worth 300 as it sits. Like we can pay you right now $270. If you want cash, $270. We'll take it. But if you let us pay for all the renovations, we'll keep track of everything. We'll renovate it, we'll clean it, we'll fix it, we'll list it. In 3 months, I'll pay you $300. He was like, okay. So now we acquired this property, no acquisition cost. It cost us $20,000 to renovate it, which we borrowed.
So that was a subject to, basically, you kept it in his name?
Yeah, you get everything.
Okay.
I call it a hybrid subject. I don't know. That's what I called it. Naya said.
It was a
Naya-
subject to done the wrong way.
Yeah, Naya was like, I would have done it a little differently, but I'm like, all right. But ended up selling it for $360. He got his $300. We paid the investor back his $25. Was at $325, and then we paid the agent $10 grand, so $335. So we made $25,000, which doesn't sound like a lot, but with $0 in, that's an infinite ROI. Like we put $0 in it. So I'll take $25,000 with no money up front, just my time, checking up on Mark every day.
Hey, you need a bigger cut.
Right?
Patrick's up here talking good stories. She's like, well, wait a minute.
Well, he knows. I'm open.
Glad I came to speak.
So, next things for that, if you're not part of the Facebook group, please join it. We encourage everyone to be active in it. I want to see people's stories. I want to see people's stuff, what they're doing. I just want to keep putting myself on there. I don't mind, but I want to see people's stories, what they're doing. If you have questions, our biggest thing is trying to get people to be active, right? You're coming to these events, you're learning things. We want to see what we can do to help you take action so you can get your first rental, get your first Airbnb, get your first flip. You know, we want you to take action. You can RSVP for next month's event on our website, and then there's a YouTube channel that GRID puts together with all of these slide decks, or no, with our recordings pieced together. We also send out a newsletter next week with all of this information involved. The whole slide deck will be emailed to you. So yeah, you'll get all this. So this is a new thing GRID put out. It's called freegridpass.com. It's basically all of the slide decks for the whole year. There's masterminds, there is podcast episodes, there's basically all the resources that we get. You can go on here and get, maybe not all of them, but most of them, you can go on here and get for free. You can sign up to take what's called their agent investor test, which then certifies you. You learn a lot for this. It certifies you to become a agent investor through GRID. That part's not free. That part you got to pay for. I don't know the exact cost, but that part you got to pay for.
Our meetups will always be free.
Right. Yeah. Our stuff's free, but if you want to become certified through them, it's a test you take and some classes. But all the other stuff is free. Videos, podcasts, mastermind. There's some really great information on there about particular niches if you want to look into it.
Don't start your cars yet. Wade's
Yeah, Wade's got it.
We did a little bit.
So go take massive action. Exit this. Wade's gonna come. You want me to click or you want?
You can click. So I want to talk about a couple of different things because part of this applies to you guys, some of it less. If you're a realtor, definitely. If you're just an investor, kind of. But anyway, Wade Vander with Pruitt Title, and what I do at Pruitt is I work a lot with agents. I help them get more listings, help them with buyers, help them with how do you do that? Like I help them with social media, videos, websites. I have a website, dctitleguide.com. I've been doing that for about 11 years. I write for 2 real estate magazines. I have a big YouTube channel, and I do all types of stuff. So, one thing that we do, I'll talk about this first, is helping you guys find deals is through the data mining programs that we have at Pruitt. We can, anywhere in this area, we can help you target market-specific properties. So you say, hey, I want properties in Roanoke that are older than they were built, around 1960 to 1980. They're on a quarter acre. The owners they own it free and clear, or whatever it is. However criteria you want it, we can break down that information to get just those properties. So if you're an actual, like a realtor, if you have a listing, you could say, hey, pull 100 houses around my current listing, pull all the phone numbers and email addresses for those homeowners so I can start circle prospecting, drive people to my open houses on Saturday. We do a lot for a lot of my agents do that. But also if you're just looking to target market specific people. So if you want to send out mailers, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to send out 10,000 mailers, you can send out 3,000 mailers to just the right properties that meet the certain criteria that you're looking for in the right places. Like, I want my flip to be in the XYZ elementary school district. Let's pull everyone in the school district, and then let's start breaking it down of how we really want it. At least 3 bedrooms. It's got to be on this size of a lot. It's got to be here. I can pull all those properties, and then you can start target marketing just those homes. And if you want to start making calls, I can pull the phone numbers. It's like 80% of the phone numbers I can get. And you can start dialing for dollars if you really want to do that. Or if you want to hire a VA, right? Have the VA make calls for you, right? Or something like that. There's a little plug for the VA people. But my point is leverage your time, right? So that, what's your best ROI on your time? Is it dialing for dollars? Maybe not, right? Have somebody else do it for cheap, and then they can maybe bring the opportunities to you, and then you can go meet with them and do what you do best, which is hopefully create a transaction for yourself. So I want to have cards up here. You can grab them. I'm not done talking, but I got a bunch of cards up here. Hit me up. So what I do all day is work with agents and help them. So I'm going to talk about the content piece. And I always make jokes with realtors. I get one slide into my presentation. I'm like, this is where I lose people. Content, right? But what Patrick and Zach are doing, testimony, and Tim, testimony to that is, they're putting themselves out there to let people know who they are, what they do, what value they bring, and why should you work with them, right? Whether it's either you're buying or selling a home traditionally, or if hey, I am an investor. This is what I'm looking for. This is my vertical. This is what I'm into. And they're not afraid to say, I'm going to put my face in front of the camera and create content, or maybe write an article, or do whatever you got to do. You can skip through that. Let's go, there you go. So, typically for me, like I help agents with, a lot of it's farming, right? But I also teach them how to dominate their farm on Google. So, you don't have to do this now, but if you go to Google and type in, is there training for title salespeople? Well, how many title companies are there in the United States? Thousands. How many people do title sales or business development roles for title companies? Thousands. If you Google that, I own the first 8 out of the first 9 spots on Google are me. There's a way to do it, okay? So I teach agents how to do that for their farm or for their local market for free, right? Whether it's through YouTube content or written content, on how Google can actually index that so that you're there all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, getting eyeballs to your business. I probably speak to 3 to 5 people a week who call me off of those platforms. They're realtors or lenders or title companies, but all types of people all over the United States. I spoke to a guy in Michigan today. I have a call with a girl in New York tomorrow. I had a girl in Utah 2 days ago hit me up, and they want to pay me for coaching or they want to do something, right? But it all starts from finding content that lives for free on the internet 24 hours a day. So to what Patrick and Zach are saying, what is your vertical? Who are you trying to attract? Then create content, whether it's video or written, around who these people are, and then they'll discover you, right? And if they find you, say, so think about this. VCP, visibility creates credibility. Credibility creates profitability. You gotta be visible, okay? Can't hide, okay? You gotta be in front of the camera, you gotta create content, you gotta be on social, you gotta be in these Facebook groups, you gotta be talking to people to let them know who you are, what you do, and what value you can bring. What problems do you solve? And if you can do that articulately in a great way, you're gonna have people that will proactively reach out to you, like they do with Patrick, and say, hey, we got this big Virginia grant thing, like you guys take it on. Well, that didn't happen by accident, right? No, it happened by accident. Okay? So yeah. So when you are creating content, begin with the end in mind. Who's your target audience? So Roto, 3 bedrooms, investor, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. Well, then you build content around that. But also you gotta be consistent with it, okay? By consistent, it doesn't mean you gotta shoot a video every single day. That's pretty awesome, but you don't have to do it every day. But you gotta do it at some level, right? Think about this. When I started in title sales in 2005, there was I had no Facebook, no Instagram, no YouTube. I didn't have a website back then. So when I was starting in title sales, if I wanted to go meet with a real estate agent, I had to either call them or get in my car, drive to the office, and hope that Susie Smith Realtor, my number 1 prospect that I wanted to get in front of, was in the office, right? Now we have all these great platforms and ways to get in front of our target audience and be visible, and a lot of it's at no cost, right? Instagram and Facebook, unless you run ads, right, are at no cost. LinkedIn, no cost. YouTube, no cost. Like you can go ahead, you can get, if you have a smartphone, you got a camera. A lot of them are really high-level cameras now. You can shoot video content at any time you want, right? So, if you're invisible, people don't know who you are, it's going to be a problem. But if you let people know on a consistent basis, I'm an investor, I'm looking for apartments, I'm looking to connect with people that want to do a deal or whatever. You just never know what the universe is going to send you, because it will send you stuff, and you can get opportunities. Okay. So I love YouTube. And hopefully you will love YouTube as well, because YouTube is owned by Google. So when I talk to you about that little, hey, if you type into Google training for title, there are some articles that I've written that are on the first page, but like 6 of the things that are on the top are videos from YouTube, okay? And if you can link your website content to your video content, and then vice versa, you get people that can discover you here, hop over here. They discover you here, and they hop over here. The next thing you know, all they see is you. And you're educating them and helping them and teaching them stuff, then all of a sudden you become the expert in whatever it is you're trying to do, whether it's trying to get more listings or you're trying to find a certain deal or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you become the expert. You guys follow people on the internet, like whether it's through social media or you watch YouTube videos and you watch their videos, like, wow, man, they really know their stuff. I mean, they're just visible, they're visible to you, they're in front of you. So now you feel like you know them a little bit, like you've gotten to know them. So when they finally reach out and call you, they're gonna be like, hey man, I've been following you on the internet and I know you, and so all of a sudden, like the barrier is like low, right? Low barrier, right? Because we kind of know each other. You don't know them, but they feel like they know you, right? So the whole thing is getting people to know, like, and trust you before you ever meet them. That's what this does, right? Thank God it does that. All right, so you can skip that part. So you can see I wrote an article on a listing. This is just kind of quick. If you're going to write content, get with me. I can show you how to optimize your content on your website if you have a website, especially if you're a real estate agent. But you know what? You can get on the first page of Google pretty quickly. I wrote an article, this is like a really quick one, on a listing that a client of mine had a while ago, and real quickly it optimized it, put it on the first page of Google. But the whole thing is with your YouTube optimization steps, you gotta have the title of your video is obviously very important. Okay, you don't want to just say like something random, right? You want to have keywords in there that what you're trying to get found for. But the big thing is, in my opinion, is having consistent video content that features you. If you ever follow people on Instagram and they have a pretty big following, like how big they're following? And you start scrolling through, and almost like 85% of their posts, it's like a picture of them, or it's a reel and they're in it. Yeah, because they know that they are the product and the brand. If you are a real estate investor, you are the product and the brand of that whole thing. Like you got to let people know that it's you, so that people need to reach out to you. You know how to solve their problems. You know how to help them identify a deal. You know how to do X, Y, and Z, so they come to you. And that's the huge thing. So for me, yeah, I get a lot of the eyeballs on the internet. I get a lot of calls. No one ever says, how much production did you do in title last month? No one ever says that. No one says that. What was your revenue last year? No one says that. They're just like, hey man, I feel like I know you. I love all this content. Can I help you? Can you help me? How much does your trading cost or whatever? Like they don't ask that. Hey, how many flips you done? Maybe they would ask you that. But like they don't ask a lot of those questions. They just perceive you as an expert, so they want to work with you already. Okay. SEO tips. Oh yeah. I have a free SEO. It's an ebook. It's an easy read. It's basically like, hey, if I don't know anything about this, and I want to learn how to really optimize my content so that I can be discovered, like this is what you got to do. I can email it to you if you give me your business card. Super simple. Okay. But and also if you give me your business card, I'll just send you this entire presentation so you have it. And that way you can just look at it. But I can tell you this: if you guys want help identifying properties, getting phone numbers and email addresses to homeowners, tell me what you want. We can give it to you. Obviously, the end goal is to close transactions, approve a title, right? That's full disclosure. But also, if you just need help getting started with, hey, you know what? Wait, I don't know anything about reels. I've never even done that. What the hell is a reel? Like, how do I even post it? How do I attach trending music to my reel? I can walk you through it. It's not hard. And Tim can probably walk you through it too, right? Tim's come a long way.
10 years as a lender and just started doing video. Been waiting for 7 years. He's been doing video the whole time. I started 3 months ago.
And I've told him the whole time. I said, man, come on, man. He's like, I don't want to get in front of the camera. Then all of a sudden he's like, all right, now he's in front of the camera, right? I mean, it's there.
Yeah. I Monday morning quarterback all the time about why didn't I start 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
So I had 3 weeks ago, I had PRK, which is like advanced LASIK surgery on my eyes. I actually have 2015 vision now. So that's how I look at, like, you know, if you want to potentially get into a deal, try to do a deal, right? You want to partner with somebody, like you want to get started shooting content. How do we get started? Like you just got to do. Like sometimes you can't overanalyze things. You just got to do, right? Are you going to be awesome at it right away? Probably not. Who cares? Yeah, but now you've got partners, right? You got your contractor, you got your people, you got your community. Like you've got it kind of down now. But that took time. It didn't happen right away.
Our first deal, I don't think we knew what we were doing. We were just like, all right, we're just gonna see if it works.
Right. He just did. Right. Yeah. But my point is, he just did it. Like you can't run up to the ledge and then just stare at it and be like overanalyze. And in the meantime, 4 people just jumped over and just passed you by. I'm like, you just got to jump and do it. Right? Whether it's getting in front of a camera, getting your vertical, getting involved in these groups, coming back to this more, talking to this guy about how he's could make 360 grand. Right?
It's gonna be a big party. Big party.
Actually, what I took away from that story is that you just gotta like misspoke on the phone and just say, "Hey, the house is on fire," and then like someone will.
It's a good, yeah. It's a good way
They will call you.
The girl I did that until we jumped in. Anytime I want somebody to train a phone call, It's on, your house is on fire.
The house
No,
on
no,
fire.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Immediate callback.
I think that's my biggest aha.
Yeah.
It works. It works.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a couple quick things. Make sure you get on Wade's mailing list because what he's doing is what he does all day, every day, and he's always trying to add to give value to his business partners. And a lot of what he does, is online, but a lot of the classes and stuff are during the workday. So
Sure.
definitely for your realtors in the room, take advantage of that. But anyone else, I think you should consider going to them as well. And the question that I had was, I know the realtors will have questions, but for the non-realtors or for the people in the room are like,
Right.
this is overwhelming.
Yep.
I don't have time for this. I run 3 other businesses.
Yep.
Do you think like partnering with someone on deals that like or on your business to like get going, or what do you say?
Yeah.
No, they're going around.
They're going around.
They're going around.
Go partner and lean on people who know more about this than you do, right? And ask them questions. So you're talking about the financing part. I mean, for you, I would be like, who's your best hard money lender? I need to know that person right now, right? That's how you're going to fund your deals. You don't, yeah, you don't want to fund your deals with your own money, right? So, yeah. But leaning on people who, well, he's done 14 deals now after this deal's going to close. Well, he's done trial and error. So take him to lunch. Pick his brain. Like, I'll pay for your lunch. I'll take you to wherever.
I want that shrimp.
Yes.
We had last year.
That's what I would do.
She does too.
On the marketing side of things, YouTube and Instagram are free. You have a phone in your hand that's a camera. I would start shooting content and letting people know what you do, and maybe posting it on Facebook or whatever, kind of like Patrick does, or just look at what other people are doing and model their behavior.
It's like half my content is like I look what someone else did. And I'm like, all right, I can do that. And it's good content. Like, oh, this is great. Let me put in my own words and do it myself.
Yeah, I kind of take that as like jumping the
Anthony,
water.
I see you going places. Come on.
Okay.
Your personality.
Yeah. Think about it this way. See if you can become the celebrity of your audience. That's what I call it. And the audience doesn't have to be 1 million people. Your audience can be 100 people, right? But if you're the celebrity of your audience, you're the go-to person for whatever it is. If it's hey, this is what I do on the side or whatever. I'm an investor. This is what I'm looking for, or I can help maybe somebody else invest, or I'm looking to partner on a deal, and you become the celebrity of your audience for that thing, then you are that thing.
Okay, I mean, it sounds good. Like I said, it's
I know.
inspiring. It sounds great. It's just, I don't quite understand all the language.
I'm gonna come over for lunch again.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
I would just,
I'm because I gotta get out of this truck.
you gotta lean on people who know more than you. When I talk to my realtors, especially the ones that are newer to the business and they're like struggling, and I'm like, well, have you taken a top agent in your office out to lunch yet? Actually asked them what they did because they were you once. They're like, oh, I haven't done that. Wait, why? Like, why? Like, go ask them questions. They don't need to give you like everything, but they'll be like, listen, here are the top 4 or 5 things I would do if I was you in this position right now. And this is how I got going. And this is how I got to where I am. This is what I would do. And then, just ask people questions.
So when me and Zach started, like we didn't have, there was no groups like, we didn't know any groups like, we were a year into the business and went to this Tony Robbins thing that happened at George Mason. We paid a bunch of money for this real estate courses. But when we bought the first property, I don't think we had any clue what we were doing. And we didn't have any meetings like this. And I'm like, now we've developed a team and people that we can go to and ask questions. It's amazing to have like all the people around you now that can help you, that want to help you. AJ, sorry, I
was gonna talk about Wade because I'm kind of like an introvert, just like in my culture. But ever since I become a real estate agent, it kind of pushed me out of the shell. Because I don't talk to people about how to close deals. And Wade, like I reached out to him, like I was like, should I talk to this guy? Because I like his presentation. Like two meetings ago, right? So I came out to him and I was like, oh, how can I get these calls, like the numbers? So he gave me like 400 people to call. So I'm like, okay, crap, now I have to call them. So cold call, like I don't even talk to people. Like, I mean, like I can tell my voice is a little shaky. But cold calling, it took me like maybe a week or two before I called the first one. So I'm on number 13 and I have 400. So
It's good though, you're doing
Hey,
it.
but at least you're doing it.
you know,
Yeah.
At least you're doing it.
you gave me a list, so I'm like, I gotta do
Yeah.
something with this
Yeah, I mean,
list.
we can pull it any way you would ever
Right.
want me to pull it. I can pull it. I mean, the filters are unbelievable. But yeah, to help you guys
So,
identify properties you want to talk to.
give me the list, but you just have to call them.
But just a small, tiny plug for my title company is that's what makes us different. Most title companies, nothing against them negatively, but they're waiting for you to send them a deal. They're waiting versus proactively trying to help you create inventory, get more clients, and just help you with what I call your blind spots in your business, because everybody has a blind spot in their business, right? So that's where we're trying to improve and help, because we can't close any business unless you guys send us business. So why wouldn't we proactively help you generate business? Right. We all want to make money, right? Everybody. And when the realtors have business, right? Business. So it's like that's the top of the funnel. So we all want to make sure that that's happening, so that everybody else can eat too.